Test, test. Allo? Funziona, vedi? It's okay. Test. Ok. Good morning. Morning to everybody. I wish that from home they are following us. We are starting with the delay, but of course I see some person is still there in proceeding to check the COVID repass. Anyway, you can show the slide, please. So this is the famous course in Montecatini, Terme, Tuscany. We have worked a lot to prepare this initiative, and we have been engaged in several exchanges with participants. As you know, we have more than 700 participants subscribing the course. Unfortunately, we were not able to invite all of them. It's a big number, but luckily we are a good group here in Montecatini Terme. Participants arrived yesterday. We had the first social occasion for the Italian aperitif. Then we have we met each other to know a little bit better than online. And then now we are here in the Tuscany in hotel, Montecatini Terme, starting this course with the wish to learn from each other. Of course, that we have participants with more experience and participants that are more new to this Erasmus Plus program and project proposals design. So we try to put the fresh energies with the most experienced energies together. We try to valorize our possibilities in networking and to understand what are the parts that we can put together to make good projects. In this drive, we also have occasions to learn from some speaker, to get some lecture. Sorry. And then it's my duty now to introduce you to this course, the time that we will spend together. So apart this welcome, it's my also duty to try to understand better how the course is organized and the work program. So I will make it using helping me with some slide. I think that we are also followed by participants online. I cannot see by myself now how many people are connected because I'm not in the I'm not watching the final streaming that is on the course platform. But I will check it at the end of the morning. We will also check what was the situation online. I know because I have talked before with my colleagues that all the speakers are connected and ready to contribute. So sorry for this delay. I think now I see that there is no any more queue. We can close the door and start officially to welcome you by the alliance of the Skillman initiative that is composed by Assembly of European Region, EAPRIL, IVETA, ENNI, the Association for Innovation for Inclusion, and finally also the European Training Foundation that works with us. And we are very thankful to them because they give us strong support anytime. We have directly involved in the course ETF members. We will have Filippo del Ninno that also will have this morning. So this is the alliance that is promoting the Skillman initiative on Erasmus Plus courses, on Erasmus Plus project design, and on our drive to learn how to improve the capacity to make project designs. So the Skillman is a network, as you know, it is the worldwide network for advanced manufacturing, for skills in advanced manufacturing. The Skillman network has promoted this alliance, so we work in two sides. One is to support our members in this drive of improving their skills and their capacities in having a more impactful action in the field of TVET. And in the other side is to connect and to work with other supranational bodies and other international organizations like the ones that represent the Alliance. Just to know that the Alliance is not limited to these organizations. We have other networks, but for the reason of the time I have, I cannot list all of them. Anyway, the Skillman network in general has more than 600 members, as you probably know, and covers, I think, a good territory level we have. We represent and cover plus than 96 countries. I think that the last update could also change it to up to plus 100 countries, but we have to make this precise. So we love skills and we love mobility. These are our hashtag. You have received, I think, a banner with the suggestion to share in social platform to send this message, because we strongly believe that skills and mobility are two components essentials for the future of the society. So it's something that we bring on. This idea that we promote is something that is linked to our values and to our attitude to bring the attention to ethical values in education, in skills in particular, in the advanced manufacturing, the skills for advanced manufacturing in particular. And because we are talking about a course on mobility, Erasmus Plus, to promote mobility actions, I would like just to mention my own small experience in mobility. I started to make mobility, to set the first experiences in my personal mobility using an opportunity that was an association called the Servas International. This was founded after the Second World War with the idea to promote peace in the world, having friends across the borders. The idea that if you have a friend there, it's less probable that you think to put some bomb. And I started to receive many friends in my home. This is an exchange, a network for exchange and for hospitality across the borders. Then in 2006, I was still believing in this idea of promoting peace. So I started to work in mobility for education, and we started to receive our students from abroad. And this idea was continuing to live in me, in my thoughts. So I was really thinking that promoting mobility across European countries for students was a way to promote peace in the world. So this is my general objective, the idea why I think that mobility is useful for our society and for our life. Because mobility, in my opinion, can promote peace, can make friends, can create networks, relations, and can help us to have a better society. So it's not just mobility because we have Erasmus plus opportunity, but it's mobility because we have chance to improve the quality of the life and to improve the chance that for the future of the society that is a peaceful society and made not for making war. So I have received also some feedback during this preparation from Ukrainian partners that were apologized not because they were not able to come, and also mentioning the situation they have. We are in that side. We understand the problem and we wish that everything will go in the better way, because we are all afraid about what is happening. And so this is mobility, this is Skillman Network, and this is our hashtag, we love skills, and the second one, we love mobility. So if you post on your social media the banner or other things about the course, you take a picture. So be aware that when you say we love mobility, behind of this, Skillman is promoting this idea that mobility is something for peace, for the future of life. In the same, it's not working. Is the technology out there? This is something. Oh. It's very slow. I'm faster than this. I don't know. So okay. So in the same time that we do this kind of initiatives like the training course here in Montecatini, we, as you know, we set several different initiatives. Once a year we have the Skillman International Forum. You also see here some poster here in front. And these initiatives are all aimed to improve our capacities, our skills, and the impact that we can have in the advanced manufacturing. We strongly believe that, especially in advanced manufacturing, it is important to pay attention to the ethical skills. So in our settings, we include this process to stress the ethical skills in the curricula that belongs to the advanced manufacturing. And we organize, of course, different kind of activity like webinars, but in particular we are accumulating a lot of experience in these networking activities. So the course is not only an occasion to learn, but it's also an occasion to create new bridges among our organizations. So the platform, as you have visited because you are here, and for sure we know that you have been inside, but the platform is organized to transfer information to you, but also to help in making some exercise. So it was expected before to come at this occasion today, it was expected to have for both, for the participants online and for the participants on site, a first overview on the field that we are going to discuss, on the arguments that we are going to treat, using this section of the learning by doing approach platform. This is a block called the learning pathway. In the learning pathway, you have available the resources that we use for the next days. All these, okay, I see here, but all these resources that you have found are finalized to make to contextualize to have the right context to discuss among each other, the participants, how to build a new project proposal that could be win in the competition of the Erasmus Plus proposals. And then at the last task here, you cannot last the last of the first assignment list. You can have not the last one, yeah, the last assignment is the logical framework approach. So what we are going to implement in this room in the next days is almost based on the logical framework matrix application. The logical framework matrix application, then I will have occasion to give you more information, is essentially the basic tool that we are going to try to implement together. In many occasions, I've seen that we also proceed not following exactly the framework, the logical framework structure, because probably we are distracted and so on. But if we go to the origin of this project and the initiatives by the supranational bodies that source our activities, we can see that this is really the basement where we have to build up the project proposals. So it's important for us to share a common way, because I think that if we share the same tools and the same approach, it will be easier also to continue the collaboration even after the course and not only during this occasion. So what you will find also, or what you our colleagues online have found, is the section to access to the 4 days streaming and online interactions. So we have prepared 4 doors to enter, and each door corresponds to 1 day of streaming and activities. This why we have done in this way. Because when you click on the picture, first day, second day, third day, and fourth day, etc., if you are not here in the room and you are only connected online, then you can register your participation. So the access to the room is like that we did today here with the real signature in the entrance of the room. So we have this double check from double kind of check at home. When you access to the streaming, you are registered, and in the room here, you sign. I am saying this because, as you know, at the end of the course, we have some certification, and we will use also the digital badges of the Europass system. I was quite surprised about the number of the number of the participants that are aware about how the digital badges of the Europass system works. I was not expecting this, because I think it's a very complex system to be used to release digital badges, especially for institutions. This was my idea, but evidently was wrong, because we have a quite good percentage of participants that declared to be aware and to know how the system works and to be able to release. I don't know if this was some misunderstanding about the Europass certificates for mobility, probably, but I don't know. We will see during the next days. So we have thematic rooms access that can be used going to the same pages of before. So these thematic rooms were prepared trying to understand what are the topics that your learners have. And in this regard, we have this statistic that Irena, I don't know, because also Irena is in quarantine, but if she will connect from home, she will introduce us to all the statistics of the survey that we did. Anyway, the thematic rooms, there was a question about education, and this probably was not well expressed, not well defined. But the other sectors all correspond to the tables that we have set. So we will have the possibility to move across the table and to choose one table where the sector that your students are engaged is more represented in that table. But of course, if you have learners that belongs to different sectors, you have the main sector, but you also bring other sectors at the table. Just because, of course, there is no one institution usually that works only for one profile or one topic in specific. So also considering this is an exercise, not exactly the project design definitively, but anyway, we try to split participation in different groups. The same is for online. So the participants online will find the rooms made with Jitsi rooms, and they will have the possibility to enter in a room. And what we recommend, but probably we will repeat this at the right moment, we recommend that when the room is full, more than in the room there are more than I don't know 12 people, so they can move in another room, because we have provided 2 options per sector. Sorry. Finally, so selecting these rooms is only, so going into the thematic rooms is only part of the work, because another part of the work that is, in my opinion, very important is the networking. So on-site and online, we want to promote networking. We want to promote bridges across your organizations. And for the online participants, we have provided the Erasmus Marketplace, that is a database where you can put your data and look for other participants, understanding what they do, what are their interests. And in this way, making contacts and promising collaborations. So in the marketplace, if you have not yet done it, there is the possibility to create one record or more records for your organization, and declaring if you are going to send or to receive students, learners. In this way, you allow the other participants to understand if you are waiting a collaboration, if you wish, and then they can contact you. The way they can contact you is through the platform. Just click on the author of the record, of the author of the post, and then you can send a message. Or additionally, if you want to use Rocket Chat, that is the chat side to the streaming window, you can contact directly. If they are online, they can also interact directly in a video call within using the Rocket Chat solution. I think I can stop here this first introduction. I suppose, but Alessandro, we can connect the colleagues in the program now. We have Elena Romanini, and I have not presented the program of the day. This is my mistake, sorry. So today we have, yes, Elena Romanini connected from home. Thank you. So Elena Romanini will talk about Erasmus Plus mobility projects, reference framework, and peculiarities, presentation, slides, etc. So Elena is a project manager, is the general manager of the Skillman Secretariat, and she's a very well experienced in Erasmus Plus initiatives, considering also that she's also an skill assessors certified by the Emilia-Romagna region, and I think that she will help us to understand better what are the tools and what are the references that we have to consider to make the work in the next hours. So this was she's online. So this was my first step, just to create the environment to allow us to understand that we are working in a hybrid form. We are here, but we are also working online, and the same fact that we had experimented in other courses now is becoming more real with the improvement of the platform, because we have added several tools in the platform. Probably you noted this. So every webinar or every initiative like this will benefit from this experience that we are creating within the Skillman network members. Thank you, Elena. I see you. So now we have to switch off our audio and we give you the floor to make your presentation. And I suppose that you also have some slides to share, or I can share for you.
Yes, Giovanni.
Okay. Please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I have to switch off the.
Okay, so good morning to everybody. Thank you, Giovanni, for your introduction and your presentation. I'm very proud to be with you today, and thank you very much to all of you on site and online to be connected and to be interested in this Skillman Mobility Expert blended training. I am a project designer and a project manager cooperating with the Skillman network since several years right now, as Giovanni Crisona has said. And my intervention today is aimed at creating a common knowledge baseline with all of you in order to exchange some key points focused on mobility, projects, design, and development under the framework of the European Erasmus, the prior European program for mobility, that is the Erasmus Plus program, and according to the perspective the European Commission considers mobility itself. I'm trying to share my screen. Just a moment, please. I have to find my presentation. Okay, I hope everything is working correctly. So first of all, in order to discuss about how to design, let's say, successful mobility projects under the framework of the European Commission perspective and also under the Erasmus Plus program, some key points, some hints that can be useful, I hope, for your future collaborative work in the next steps of the training, and also useful to discuss how to co-create your projects also subdivided in the different rooms, as Giovanni has said before. So first of all, defining mobility. I think that it's very important to have a clear definition, a clear idea of what mobility is, and to bear it in mind when we are going to approach the design and development of a mobility project. According to the European Commission and the Erasmus Plus program guide 2022, so the latest and updated version of the guide itself, learning mobility means moving physically for different targets: teachers, trainers, students, youth workers, apprentices, um, moving abroad in other countries different from the one of residence or work, with the aim of learning. So mobility is first of all a learning experience abroad. We can have different possibilities in mobility depending on the targets and depending on the duration of the exchange. According to the European Commission, mobility can be also blended. So the on-site mobility abroad can be prepared and introduced by some preparatory activities realized before the departure by participants. Consequently to the COVID pandemic, it's also true that we can see an evolution in the European approach to mobility, because we can consider on-site mobility, blended mobility, as said, and also the new virtual mobility. So also entire virtual remote exchanges are allowed in the new European programs, especially the Erasmus Plus program. So we can find several types of mobility we can use and combine within our projects. Of course, speaking about mobility, we have to consider learning experiences, different targets, expected learning outcomes, because it's a learning process for different methodologies on-site or blended methodologies. So, and sending, receiving, and follow-up activities, for example, concerning evaluation and certification of skills and achieved competencies. So, why mobility? To reinforce skills and competencies both of individuals and of participating organizations. This is very important and very stressed in the Erasmus Plus guide, and also it's a sort of priority for the European Commission itself, for whom very different targets, so a very wide panel of targets are eligible for mobility projects, from school education, higher education, TVET education, youth, and also adult education. One mobility or many mobilities, remember, many mobilities, physical or on-site, blended as this course, for example, and completely virtual. So priority and challenges, speaking about mobility projects and let's say hints to bear in mind approaching the design phase and the co-creation activities in the next steps of the training. Priorities and challenges and also benefits for participants. So at individual level, mobility is a powerful tool to generate positive changes for people. First of all, improving learning performances, allowing the achievement of soft and hard skills, specifically soft skills useful for reinforcing employability and improving international career perspectives. We have to bear in mind that mobility is also useful to create exchange with other countries, other companies, other organizations. So the idea of the European Commission is to strengthen mobility in all its forms in order to, let's say, allow people the achievement of skills and competencies useful to stay in a global labor market and in a global society. So increase the sense of initiative and entrepreneurship. We have to consider the strong connection, according to European Commission, between mobility and entrepreneurial mindset. Increase self-empowerment, self-esteem, let's say awareness of people of their strengths and weaknesses also. Of course, to go abroad or having exchange with other people and other countries can strengthen multicultural competencies and skills, and also language skills and digital competencies, because often we have to co-create or anyway to collaborate using digital tools, as we will do during the next steps of this mobility expert course itself. Then we can say that for participants, this achievement of new and really relevant soft skills can help in increase their active participation to the society. So mobility helps also active citizenships. It helps also interaction with people from different backgrounds and knowledge sharing processes and contaminations at different levels between peers for peer improvement and mutual understanding, but also among different, let's say, targets. So also facilitating intragenerational, let's say, discussions or comparison. Of course, it's a very powerful mobility. It's a very powerful learning experience. So it is able to increase motivation, empowerment, and to boost the agency of all participants, both youngsters and adults. Regarding benefits, I have just mentioned a lot of, let's say, benefits for participants at any level, not only for employability, but also for active citizenship. But it's not only, let's say, and mobility, it's not only an advantage for individuals. As I said, it's also an advantage, a very rich opportunity for participating organizations, because participating organizations, data centers, universities, companies, schools at any level, participating in mobility projects, they can increase their capacity and widening their international networks. They can reinforce the internationalization development plan, as it is called. And of course, thanks to mobility opportunities to their targets, staff, learners, they can improve the quality and the responsiveness of their curricula, service, and learning or training offers on from local to global level. Of course, mobility focused on exchanges and knowledge sharing among different countries, people of different cultures and different backgrounds. Mobility, it's also a contribution to dissemination of European values. As Giovanni has said before during his presentation, mobility allows to, let's say, exchange knowledge, understand diversity, increase and spreading tolerance, and also fosters a peaceful way of life, of living. Sorry. So more technical requirements for successful projects, please take them into consideration for your next collaborative works and subgroups. So eligible activities, we have a wide range of targets eligible for the mobility projects. We have also two prior categories, so learners and staff. According to staff, so for example, mobility of teachers, trainers, vet professionals, or other, let's say, technical personnel employed at the school level or at vet center level or the university, we can have a wide range of eligible activities as well. So for example, job shadowing, teaching or training assignments, and participation in formal courses or formal training opportunities. Of course, these durations that are very, let's say, very described in a very detailed way in the official guideline of the project are referring to on-site physical mobility. But remember that some preparatory activities can be organized before departure of the direct beneficiaries of the projects. So that means that these preparatory activities are out of these limits, of these durations, and can be organized before departure online at home. So what is job shadowing? Job shadowing is a very interesting methodology because it's based on a direct on-field observation of colleagues in teaching or training activities. And we can, let's say, learn from our peers abroad, seeing what they, how they work, how they teach, how they involve students or trainees in the different activities. It's let's say, a form of work-based learning in a sense, or on-the-job training, if you prefer. So it's based on the direct involvement of each participant in on-field activity. Teaching or training assignments, so participants can spend a period of teaching or trainings abroad by hosting organizations. And also they can participate in any kind of courses or formal and non-formal training for upskilling purposes. In case of learners. That means students for school, that means university students for higher education institutions, or youth workers, youth leaders, etc., depending, let's say, on the field of application of mobility. For learners, we can have, for example, the participation in vet skills competitions in the case of vocational education and training, or forms of short-term learning mobility or long-term, up to 1 year abroad. For example, it's this Erasmus Pro tool is very interesting because it is devoted to graduated students that are interested in staying up to 1 year abroad for increasing their entrepreneurial and employability skills. So other eligible activities, so besides these specific training actions for staff and learners, we can have other activities that can be covered by the program, so Erasmus program, and then can be foreseen in designing a mobility project. From one side, invited experts, so participating organizations can invite trainers and teachers, policy makers, policy experts, or other qualified professionals and practitioners that can improve their teaching, training, and learning capabilities, bringing their expertise within the receiving organization for a period. Or we can host as participating organization in a mobility project. We can host teachers and educators for training purposes coming from different organizations and different countries abroad. Preparatory visits. This is something I mentioned before in my presentation very quickly, but it's worthwhile to share some hints regarding these activities. So these are preparatory activities to the on-site mobility, or to, let's say, to the departure of and the staying abroad of our direct beneficiaries of our projects. It's important because it can be organized not only online, as mentioned before, but also on-site. So, for example, a delegation of participating organizations to mobility projects can prepare the staying of their students or trainees, meeting the hosting professionals, the hosting organizations. This is very useful in case of disadvantaged groups as beneficiaries of the mobilities, study mobilities abroad. So this is a very useful and valuable activities in order to create conditions for a positive learning experiences abroad, to provide adequate support and scaffolding to, let's say, disadvantaged or anyway fragile groups. So this is an action, let's say, that in my opinion is very important to bear in mind in the co-design of mobility projects. So when we speak about mobility and mobility projects under the Erasmus Plus program, we have to take into account, to take into consideration that we have a wide range of duration, a very wide range of duration depending on the field of application, so school education, university education, TVET, youth, adult education. We have also to consider that these durations are defined by the program itself. So it's absolutely fundamental to take into account and to continuously consult the Erasmus Plus program guide when we approach a co-design phase of a mobility project. Now, before leaving the space to other relators and other speakers, and also to give to you the words for your collaborative work, I would like to have with you an interaction, and not through Slido, in order to, let's say, to fix some key points of this presentation that can play a role of, let's say, preparatory hints for your work. So please, you can access Slido joining the application, inserting this code you can see on the screen, or by scanning the QR code in the slide. And the first interaction I would like to launch with you and to share with you is a wordcloud. So here you are kindly requested as on-site and online participants connecting this moment to this intervention. You are kindly required to insert here keywords, let's say, connected according to you with mobility. So what mobility means for you? Learning, skills, chance to learn, learning opportunity abroad, some evocative concepts and key concepts you have to take into account also in the design and development phase. Remember what the European Commission consider as mobility, not only from a technical perspective, so a form of learning abroad, let's say, but also as a powerful for experience to share values, to share knowledge, to reinforce international capabilities, so capacity buildings of organizations, not only for upskilling of individuals. So European citizenship, learning opportunity, collaboration, growth, traveling, learning opportunity abroad is now the prior keywords selected, chance to learn, so global citizenship, of course, yes, enrichment, absolutely, thanks to, let's say, the exchange of knowledge, of expertise, peer improvement, depending on the various targets involved in the mobility projects themselves. Life, interesting. Yes, it's a way also for enforcing the so-called life skills. You know that European Commission is working on the integration of different, let's say, skills standards, skills frameworks, from life skills, digital skills, soft skills, entrepreneurial skills. So we have to consider, let's say, all the kind of skills. Very interesting, a full experience, a 360-degree experience. Yes, I fully agree with this. Cultural exchange, yes. It's very important because co-designing, and you will have a direct expertise of this. And the following step, you have, let's say, by co-designing mobility projects, you will be involved in a, let's say, deep cultural exchange and also cultural change thanks to the cooperation. So multicultural skills, challenge yourself. Yes, of course, because it's a challenging experience abroad, speaking in another language, etc. Okay, thank you very much for your hints, for your feedback. We will valorize this wordcloud, maintaining this as proof of our cooperation both on site and online. This is the second poll. Which are the target groups and beneficiaries of your interest? We have seen a wide range of potential beneficiaries of your mobility projects. So our participants participants are interested in students' mobility, first of all, 100%, but also teachers and in any case, staff mobility could be interesting to increase, to upskill the professionals at organizational level and also to reinforce the skills ecosystem at organizational level. Also, adults education can be interesting, yes, because mobility experiences are really a powerful tool to reinforce skills, to upskills and reskills adults. For example, adults with low skills and competencies at risk of social marginalization, etc. Okay, anyway, students are at first place. Okay, which are the learning, teaching, training activities you are interested in? Mobility of learners, mobility of teachers, mobility of adults or other is, of course, strictly connected to your favorite targets we saw before. Okay, more or less, we have learners, considering, for example, students at the first place, but mobility of teachers and staff and also of adults is in any case valuable and it's worthwhile to be considered as a possible field of design and development of common mobility projects. Probably in other we can find youth workers exchanges or other form of mobility experiences, inviting professors, inviting teachers and experts, etc. So now from type of mobilities to main outcomes. According to you, thanks to a mobility project, which are the main outcomes, learning outcomes, but also positive impacts generated by the mobility experience itself? Improving of language, improving on multicultural and relational skills, capacity and adapting new pedagogical approaches, empowerment, motivation, reinforcement of international networks. We are still voting, so we will some seconds for having final feedback. So at the first place is reinforcement of the international networks for people and organizations, empowerment and motivation. Okay, so it's still changing. Okay, so I think we have voted. So empowerment and motivation of learners. Yes, absolutely. Also, according to the vision of the European Commission related to mobility, it is a powerful tool to empower, to increase self-confidence, self-esteem, agency, and mobilization of skills and competencies of learners. So empowerment of learners. It's also very important to think, for example, mobility, to foresee mobilities for students and also for the so-called needs, that is not active youngsters, not in education, not at the work, etc. So reinforcement of the international networks for people and organization, of course, this is also very important. And this is also the reason why we have organized this blended course in order to create occasion of positive collaboration, of positive exchange, and also the possibility to enlarge and widen our international network through mutual, let's say, learning and mutual improvement. So improving of multicultural and relational skills, of course, it's also very important. Capacity of adapting new pedagogical approaches and learning methodologies, of course, this is strongly related to teachers and trainers' mobility experiences through job shadowing, for example, as we saw before. Teachers and trainers have a direct experience of teaching and training activities with classrooms of or group of students and trainees but at the hosting organization. So it's an on-the-job training opportunity to learn from other colleagues abroad and also to learn from the others, for example, new learning approaches or new pedagogic approaches. For example, also related to how integrate digital tools in the traditional teaching activities at school level. So, of course, a cross-cutting issue is the improving of language skills and English language skills, considering that English language is still the vehicular language at international level. Thank you very much for your voting. And the last poll. So, which are the prior impact indicators according to you while designing a mobility project? You have to take into account that it's very important to have clear, to be clear in mind what kind of changes we would like to obtain through the mobility experiences in our direct beneficiaries or target groups, but at the same time, we have to consider and to define in very clearly way both qualitative and quantitative indicators. So number of participants, of course, is very important because it's also impacting on the budgeting of the project. Countries involved, it's also important because we have a minimum number of countries and organizations in different countries to be involved in a project. But as you know, we can have as eligible countries both European countries and partner countries, according once again to the guide. People with a disadvantage reached, yes, this is important to considering that social inclusion, it's a cross-cutting priority of the European Commission and of these new overall new programming 2021-2027. So it's important to consider people with disadvantages of any kind, economic disadvantage, geographic disadvantage, physical and psychological disadvantage, also as direct beneficiaries of these mobility opportunities. So duration of mobility, yeah, it's impacting in terms of eligibility and also in terms of budgeting of the project. Then, of course, we can work on qualitative indicators in terms of type of changes we would like to obtain, stakeholders involved in the process, because in any case, you have to remember that cross-cutting activities for mobility projects as well as other European projects is communication, dissemination, and sharing of results. So, for example, typology of involved stakeholders, public and private relevant stakeholders is an important qualitative indicator to be considered in writing our collaborative proposals. Okay, number of participants is our first results considering this poll. Now, thank you very much for your attention. I'm going to conclude my presentation here, hoping that these hints we have shared in this introduction will be useful for your future step together, especially the co-creation activity. Thank you very much. Have a good day ahead and a good and proficient cooperation. Thank you very much.
No.
Giovanni?
Okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, good. So I was saying that now will be difficult to have a live interaction among you and me, Filippo, sorry, because we have this problem of dual connection, and we need to speak once a time. So when you speak, I have to close my microphone. So that's the only attention we have to pay. But then I was also introducing the fact that in the next days you will have your full time for a presentation. So it was something that we discussed in the previous days, and was the result of this discussion was the creation of a matrix for the Skillman course. And we have introduced the concept that there are different approaches, of course, even to set this the logical framework matrix. But then we have thought that there is a common way that we can present and something that can be used for the group work for the next days. So anyway, before to pass to the matrix, I would like also to share with participants what is the idea behind the system that we want to use, behind the approach that we want to have in the next days. And this is a learning by doing workflow that was created thinking to the various steps that are implemented during the project design phases. So, as you can see in this picture, we are approaching now to the step number one. The step number one is the first approach to the project, represent the first contacts that you have with your partners to put on the field something that you have in mind. So the first step is always to think about an idea. So you start from your creativity and you start to think to something that, of course, in the framework, logical framework approach is a problem. You think about a problem and then you go on with an idea. So you think to develop something, but you have not clear yet what you want to develop. And most, if you want to propose a project in Erasmus Plus program, you need to have a consortium that share your idea. So the first step that we want to address is this creative part where you discuss with your partners about your idea. You can have the idea or you can develop the idea together with someone. In the co-design steps, when you decide the project idea, you discuss the project idea, you need to find partners that are also suitable for implementing the project idea. So it's not easy. And then you have to spend your network in this regard. You have to think who could be good in my network to bring on my idea. With which organization I could work better to make this idea concrete. And these are questions that then are followed by the contents of the idea. So if I have identified someone to discuss with, but then I have to discuss the idea. And then if you remember the tools that we have proposed to you, like for example, the digital boards, the implementation of collaborative electronic tools to work at distance, but not only distance, because we can also implement these tools being in the same room. But anyway, we have provided to you on the table the classic papers with pencils, and we can make this exercise not only electronic, but even physically. So the second step that we want to promote to you is then when you have set the project idea, you have discussed the project idea, you have understood what you wish to do, and then you have been able to understand what could be the outcomes of your organization and what would be the activities necessary to make your outcomes concrete. Then you can pass to the step number 2, and you can discuss what are the human resources necessary and what is the budget that has to stay behind to support your initiative. Because if you have to spend money, you need to make a clear plan to understand that this money are enough to pay the human resources and all the other costs. So after these 2 steps that we are promoting to you, then Irena will give more detailed instructions on this. We think to have a follow-up from the participants and to make a presentation of what you have discussed, or in case what you have in terms of digital board to be shown, or another kind of board that will be also made by pencils. Then, after this presentation to the colleagues of your ideas, and you can pass to make another step of your project design that consists in making the quality standards for your project, designing the quality standards for your projects, and identifying indicators and way how to measure your results. No? In this regard, also, we are not trying to make a really concrete project proposal that after the course you go to present, but of course you can say a lot of things that are real, and then you can adjust it after with further interactions with your partners, and you can include also other parts and so on. But the important is that you are discussing something concrete, something that exists. Concrete idea in your mind that is transformed in process, in the integration of a process, and then you find all the steps, and then after this you can have another follow-up, and then you can present the work that you have done. Finally, we move to the step number 6. We have again this exercise for focusing better on the activities that are expected, and also most very important, to design the dissemination and exploitation strategies that you want to implement, because as you know, this is a very important aspect for the donor that provide you the resources to make these exercises. And then, of course, to keep in mind, we have put here the European added value, and particularly we highlight social inclusion, the digital and green revolution as important aspects to be included as in this. Of course, the digital mindset is something that I think is always important, and in particular when we discuss innovative projects or projects that want to be innovative, because your idea can be also good, can be also innovative in itself, but we need to put this also innovation in the way how we implement the idea. So not only the contents, but even the tools and the approach, the methodologies, everything. In my opinion, would have to be inspired to the digital mindset. We have to create a digital mindset. So after this, we will have some group also presenting the result of the step number 6, and then we move to the final stage, that is the concrete networking using a matchmaking platform to work in connecting other organizations on concrete ideas, because even discussing this as an exercise can give you the feedback to get in mind something to do, and to promote, to move you to look for partners that can be involved in this idea, in your new vision that you can create, discussing with the colleagues all these aspects of the project design, but not only, all these aspects of the contents and the outcomes that you want to get. Because at the end, what we are trying to do is to inspire ideas and to inspire solutions. So this is your mission. You have to develop ideas and solutions. And so if you have good ideas and you promote good solutions, then the project is 50% done. Project proposal. Okay. Filippo, would you like to make a comment on this first? This is the articulation of the workflow of the next hours, of the next days, 2 days. Would you like to have a comment? Because, you know, I have to switch off and let you talk. Please, take the microphone. I'm going to switch mine, and then you can make your comment.
I think it's a very good approach to separate the different phases, because that's the logic. It's really important that you have a logical consequence of how you structure the project. Understanding starting from the needs and not from actually the activities is really what could make a proposal look more well thought and deserved of funding. And you have to consider that for mobility project, there's a lot of similarities among the proposals that are received and that are considered for funding. So the focus on what are the needs and how the activities are related to these needs and the impact is reached is really crucial. So I really like the approach of separating the different phases and dealing with one phase after the other. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Filippo. It's clear that we are trying to give a view on how to proceed that is probably hidden, but we are going to reveal this aspect more in the next slides, using the inspiration from the platform. What we have put in the platform is aimed to help us in understanding this workflow better in the frame of the matrix application, the logical framework approach, the matrix of the logical framework approach. So let's go on to the next slide, if the system allow me to do it, but it seems not. Okay, it's me that I have no comma on. Yes. Yeah, it's a little bit in delay. So let me introduce this way to collaborate in the work groups and to have co-creative design process that correspond to not just free brainstorming, but to canalized and a very, I think, effective way to put our ideas into a track that can guide us from the beginning to the end of the project design. So this is something that I will propose you do in 3 steps. The overview that we are talking about the logical framework matrix, then co-creative design of a mobility project proposal. So what we are discussing is that we have to collaborate in this and not to make just something that we have in our own mind. And someone has muted me. Okay, I neither see my screen here, but I can see in the video projector. So the logical framework approach has a direction, as Filippo was introducing, and we have in the platform, I hope that you remember this, in the part that introduced this assignment on the, to be aware about how the logical framework approach is designed, propose a table, okay, and then you have some document inside. So starting from these documents, I think that you have got, if you didn't have before, the idea on how to proceed. But of course, that there are different aspects that we must consider. And mostly, I would like to say that this arrow going from one direction to from top to bottom represent the first entrance in the matrix. So the process that we want to implement, first of all, has to refer to the general aspects of the call. We are talking about the Erasmus Plus call. We are talking about European values. We are talking about citizenship, we are talking about right to work, we are talking about right to studies, we are talking about rights. As you know, the Skillman network, in top of these rights, put the attention to the 17 goals of the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations that are very common also with the goals established by the European Commission, by the European Union. And so these are the inspiring ideas that we have to get as a starting point. We cannot start from the activities. We have to start from general ideas, values, very important aspects of our life. So we have to start from there, trying to identify the problems that we want to address with our projects. And these, of course, in this regard, we have, for example, impact, the goal, overall objective. So, and I have put here the Erasmus Plus policy background, because this is our field. We are discussing about this aspect. And one aspect, when I talk mobility, for example, I get in mind migrants and migration. So this is also something that we have to reflect. There is a similitude among the mobility that we organize and the reasons why we have these migrants flow. So there's big principles, there's huge challenges that humanity face are all connected at the top by values. So the entrance of the matrix, the logical framework matrix, is from the top, from the values. If we agree, if we share these values, we can enter in the progress. We cannot start from the activities. We start from the values. We share. And these ideas have to promote some values and have to identify what we want to do, what are our purposes, what are the outcomes that we are looking for. And then we go on. We go on means that when we are more clear what we want to do, because we refer to existing values, and these are our values that we want to promote. What do you want to promote? I want to promote peace. Okay, I make the value. I make the mobility because I have this mission. This is my mission. I define a mission, a mandate for myself. Then I go down. What I have to do, and these are the purposes. What I can get as a result of what I will do. So this is something that starts to be more concrete, more in detail. And then what are the outputs that I need? Means what are the elements that I have to add in this context to realize my outcomes, my purposes, my general vision. What I have to do, this is a question. And then what are the activities that define what I have to do? So starting from top, I go to bottom, and then until the most deep level in bottom, I can define everything. I can define the budget, I can define the human resources necessary, if I need one paper printed, whatever, but this is the last step. So here we are going to discuss the main challenges that the humanity faces. So we have challenges in front, and each one of us can solve a part of the challenge. Which is the challenge that you have in mind that is important for you or for your organization? This is the work that we are going to ask you to make, not just to start about, I have 10 students, I would like to send 10 students. This is not the problem. Why you want to move 10 students from one country to another country? And this is your important role, our important role, to bring on our values and to make the society a winning society in doing these actions. Again, Filippo, would you like to make a comment on this first part? Then we will go on with our own matrix chart. Just a moment.
No. Later.
Yes, please.
No, I mean, if you, I think you've mentioned it. I think it's important to repeat it. It's really that mobility projects are obviously useful. So you don't really have to justify for reason why moving teachers and students has a benefit. But to be funded, I mean, what the Commission is looking at is really a better justification of what is the real impact of the mobility. We know it's useful, but what are you looking for the students and for the teachers? So this is very important. And this is something that is often missing because it's a typology of project where we often give it for granted that you will have a benefit. But this is a competition. So the Commission is going to fund projects which really demonstrates how they're going to impact on the values that they've chosen. So this is something that we're going to repeat it over this course because it's really one of the most important elements.
Thank you, Filippo. Part of your speech was not received, but because I have a bad connection, but I have understood the relevance that you have highlighted. And then I moved to our last setting of the matrix that we have discussed, because of course there are various interpretations that we can find also in the literature about how to define, for example, to divide the goals that you are going to discuss and so on. Anyway, we have created this template that I would like to propose to you for using during the course. In my opinion, it's quite understandable. The colors help us to understand how we grouped the various parts of the process. And let me comment these parts that we have here. The first, I think, the first part that we can use, the first part, not the first most important, but the essence, the skeleton of this matrix, of this tool, is a tool to design the project. The skeleton is in the blue part. So what are the aim that we want put in our project? So this part, the blue, include the goal, the outcome, and the outputs. So we have objectives, we have something concrete that we have to identify, what we want to bring on, what are our values, what are the ideas we have behind this project, what we want to promote. And this is also, as before, from the top to bottom. So if I start to discuss the goal, then I can clarify the outcomes, and then I can clarify the outputs necessary from my project. Then I can define the activities, and I'm entering in the green part. The green part represents the management of the project. So all the concrete parts that I have to realize to go up again. So if I realize all these activities that I'm going to promise to the donor, then if the assumptions are respected, so if I have no shocks in facing the reality with COVID and everything changed, and so I succeed in my activities, then I can get my outputs. I have expected to move 10 students, but then the COVID has stopped me. So I have to replace. Maybe I will react organizing digital mobility, virtual mobility. So if I succeed, then I have the outputs, and then I have moved the students. What will be the effect if they have succeeded in mobility, getting the right experience, the right opportunities, and the right parts of the experience working in a company or having, I don't know, whatever we can do, then I can have the outcomes. And so I can have a first view, I I can start to view the impact of my activities. So these activities become relevant for my vision of the society, for my wishes, for my ideas of the future. And then if these activities together with other partners' activities and so on, if these activities have an impact, effective impact, have a result on how I was expecting, then I can reach goals that are good for the humanity, not only for myself, but for the Erasmus Plus program. I can deploy the Erasmus Plus program intentions, and then this is an impact at very wide stage, international and not international, so at the society level. So I go from top to bottom, designing my idea, defining what I want to reach, defining what are the actions necessary, then organizing all the things, and then I can check in the reverse way if all these measures that I have put, measuring, of course, verifying, assessing, controlling the quality with the indicators and tools of verification, if all the things happen, yes, my idea become concrete, I make the activities, and the activities realize an impact on the society. That's the process, and this is a tool. And if you read with these glasses, for example, the Erasmus Plus template where you have to write the project, you will find all these steps, because they will ask you the impact, they will ask you the outcomes, they will ask you the task, the work packages, and so on. So you can go in detail. You have activities, you have tasks, you have work packages, then you have tasks, then you have budgeting, and then you have to establish how many hours you have to work on a certain activity. You have to say how much you will spend for support materials, and so on. You can go deep, deep, and deep. And then when you have arrived to the final part, the small part that says you how you spend €1 in this activity, then you go back and you understand going back if this is an envisageable proposal, that if it can be concrete, if you can do it, or it's just a fantasy. And then you have the competition, of course, because if you don't describe very well all this, you will not get your funds, and you will not have any chance to try if your ideas was correct or not. So this is the matrix that we ask you to try to implement. So you have a very simple matrix. You have 4 rows and 4 columns that can be filled. If you want use this matrix that is, I think, quite clear, you can start from the top and go on. So now I have a quite stupid question for myself, I think, but I have repeated some concept. I don't know if the colleagues at home that are following us will be nice to follow also the game that I'm going to propose, because I see someone in the room, many of the colleagues in the room have the laptop and probably the telephone also connected. I will promote a small game now. But before this, if my colleagues help me, because they are very angry with me because of this problem, and I am asking to Filippo again, if you want to comment before to go to the quiz, Filippo. Okay, just a moment that Alessandro start the settings for you. I'm going to mute myself. Please.
Tell me when. Is it fine now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. No, I think the key element here is really understanding the difference between outcome and outputs. Okay, so, and this has been introduced in Erasmus programs as a novelty compared to previous programs. If you go and check the Tempus applications of 10, 15 years ago, you had only results and then activities. So it has been clear effort from the side of the Commission to differentiate between tangible outputs and results, which are more easily described, and real outcomes. So what's the real outcome for the beneficiaries and for the system? This is where it's been more challenging, and this is often the difference between funded proposals and non-funded proposals. So this is where the the consortia has to reflect more before actually moving on with the task packages and the detailed activities, because this is something that the Commission put particular effort. I think this is, for me, is the most important point when you look now at the logical framework metrics in the new Erasmus Plus calls. Thanks.
Thanks, Filippo. We are going on now. So this is the matrix we propose to be used for the next hour's work together. Please take in mind, I have now the last slide before quiz, proposing the parallel among the small scale projects. So you can see, you can understand that your outcomes are only part of a system that is of the upper level. So you can scale your activities, your outcomes are connected to your world, but there is a bigger world going from right to left. So from Africa. Okay. So the slide here that was taken from Europe Ed is showing us these parallelism. So these different levels we have. Now I'm going to propose you a small quiz. It's very stupid in my idea. I did it, sorry, but it's just to finalize this reflection. The question is how the logical matrix framework is applied, and then you have 15 seconds to answer. So we will see who is the most is the faster answer Slido answer participant. So hopefully that works. I don't know. No, it doesn't work. So sorry, it doesn't work in this way. Oops. Okay, it's so stupid that doesn't work. Let's try from here. Ah. Ok, non si può fare ora. È così stupido di me. Okay, sorry. We will move this to the next step. I will propose you the game. It's not working. This is my fault. I am not logged in the system there. So I will not bore you again with this. Let's go on. I have to delete, please delete this. We will do it in the next session. So I will pass now the floor to my colleague Irena, because she has to introduce us the work groups. Please consider that Irena is afflicted by COVID, so she was expected to be here, but she cannot. Is in quarantine, but I think also very, very brave to participate and to give us her contribution. So Filippo, we are going to close in a bad way because my technical solution for making the quiz is not working at the moment, sorry. So we are passing the floor to Irena. Alessandro, can we put Irena? Thank you very much, Filippo, for the contribution. Thank you. Here I see Irena now on stage. So I go to switch off my microphone and Irena can start to talk. Just 1 second, please.
Hello to everyone. It's my pleasure to be here. Unfortunately, a bit remotely, but I hope that next time I will be with you on the board and in presence. First of all, welcome to all of you to Tuscany and hope that you will enjoy the course. So today I would like to present you some issues regarding the how to find the partnership and how to find the partnership. And also I would like to present you some results of the survey that that all of you have fulfilled a few days ago. So I would like to share with you my screen, if I may. So can you see my screen correctly?
Wait a moment. Yes, now yes.
Perfect. So I will go on. So starting from the survey result that all of you have been asked to fulfill, first of all, I would like to start from the point of who we are. So who all of us, which sector all of us represent. So as you can see from the results, majority of the respondents work in TVET sector and in higher education sector. Also in a general school education and in adult education and youth. We have here teachers and trainers in majority of the cases. Also we have researchers, consultant, youth workers, and other who haven't categorized themselves under those categories which are presented here. So if we are going to the sectors of the work, we can see that sectors of your learners are education sector, humanities and arts, social sciences and businesses, sciences, engineering, manufacturing, agriculture, health and welfare, and services. So we can see that the variety of sectors is very, very different. We have representatives from different sectors, what will make our case study and our group work more interesting. Also, to what Giovanni has already mentioned regarding the use of Europass digital credentials, we see that 82% of the respondents already work and seal the electronic digital certificates that are issued by the Europass. So majority of us are common with this type of work. Also, our experience in the EU field. As you can see, almost 47% of us already had an experience in the field of EU projects. So they have collaborated or worked or developed the EU project. We also have someone who hasn't not participated in the development of the EU project. So we have also here with us a newcomers. We can see also that 39% of the respondents have more than 5 years of experience. We have some participants who had no experience at that field, so they are newcomer. 14% of 1 year experience and 11% from 2 to 5 years of experience. So in which sectors or in which types of the mobility our respondents are interested more in? So we can see that 76% are interested in the staff mobility, and 71.7% are interested in the learners' mobility. So going to the deep, now once we have understood who of us, who we are and in which field we would like to work, Now we need to go to the second step, the identification of the partnership. And first of all, once you have a clear idea about the project you want to perform and the idea that you want to develop, you need to go to the second step, and in particular, identification of the stakeholders and based on your project proposal. So here I would like to present you a small stakeholder cycle. It's a way how to identify and how to involve stakeholders in your project and the benefits from them. So first of all, you have the identification of the stakeholder. You need to gather information about them and their main mission that they perform. Later on, you need to make kind of the research and analysis on the strengths and weaknesses of the stakeholder that they can bring to your project. So maybe any kind of additional benefits, maybe they can bring any associated stakeholders also to your project. Later on, you need to analyze the direct stakeholders' behavior. So what exactly will be their role in your project and what exactly they will do. And also start to hypothesize how you will manage the stakeholders. So following these a few steps, you will be easily later on the development of the project proposal to analyze where exactly in which stage of the project you will be able to involve that partner or that stakeholder. If we will go to the partnership research, we have three. We would like to propose and present you three main partnership research places. So first of all, we need to start from your network. Later, we have the European tools for the partnership research, and here we will have different types and ways of the research. And we would like to introduce you all to the Skillman Marketplace that we would like to put in place and collaborate with you through. So going from the first step is the use of your network. First of all, as in all European projects, you can ask your network if they have any trusted partners that you can involve in your project according to your project idea and sector of the involvement. Also, you can use social media platforms on the research, and through such kind of networks you can benefit and you can try to search very good and trustable partner as in your countries as outside. Also through the use of the social medias and networks, you can find not only the partners but also some project proposal idea that are already implemented and people who are looking for the participants. If we are talking about the European platforms on the partnership research, we can identify two different steps. First one, search by team or search by sector. If we are talking about search by team, then we will need to consult the Erasmus Plus project result platform. Basically, you put in the research box, in the search box, you put the topic, any kind of initiative or the country that you are interested in, and you find the projects that have been already implemented with a clear description of the project results, and also partners who have participated, whom you have the contacts of those partners, and you can easily contact them in order to propose to collaborate under the project. Moreover, you have the maps, so in order to facilitate this issue, you can use, in case if you are focused on one specific country, you can use the map, which will show you all the project implemented in that geographical area. If we are talking about the sectors, based on the sectors, we have a different European platform that help us to search for partners, and not only for partners, but also for some initiatives and already projects implemented. If we are talking about school sector, we have School Education Gateway. It's a European platform that has different opportunities to search for the partners. We can search by the offer, we can search by the type of the project, and we also can search by the initiative. Moreover, we have at Twinning, it's more famous one and the more popular one when we have the consortium and we have the networks of teachers, trainers who are collaborating together on the development of the project. You can also create a specific page of your institution or yourself and start to work on the project. Moreover, what is important is that both those platforms offer also not only the partner research or opportunities, but also a free training for the teachers and free training for the staff that might be used in case of the school. When we are talking about adult education sector, then we can consult the EPALE platform. The idea and the idea of use is almost the same as the previous two. You have the list of initiatives already presented in which you can candidate yourself as a participant and participate, but also you have the list of some filters that you can use in order to search for the opportunity of the partner. You have a specific you can have your specific place where you can search where you search for the partnership, or you can submit your candidature, your project, and other people will find you through. If we're talking about the youth sector, it's Salto platform. In particular, in the Salto, we have also the Atlas platform. That's part of the Salto website. In the Atlas platform, you can look for the projects in the sphere of the youth sector. You can find also and not only the project, but also some institutions who are actually looking for the partnership and so on. Through the Salto platform, it's also possible to disseminate your product. So it's also useful platform for the dissemination and promotion of your institution or initiatives that you perform, and also for the collaboration, not in the geographical area of European Union, but also other different regions. When we are talking also about the VET sector, we also have the Erasmus project result platform, where you can search by the initiative, and also can be used the EPALE platform. Also might be consulted some different other European platform, or just research based on who signed the VET charter. Here, we would like to also present you briefly the Skillman Marketplace, where later on we will perform the activities. The platform of the Skillman Marketplace is available already on the Moodle platform that you all visited. It's a place where each organization can submit information about itself, indicate if it's hosting or it's receiving an organization, describe the services which you provide, and also the sector, indicating the contact person who might be easily contacted by all interested people. Also, it's a very comfortable place because you can choose the contact person who is already inserted. You can read the bio of that person, who see with whom you already interacting, and write a direct message through the sidebar to that person. I would like just quickly anticipate that Skillman Marketplace will have the training on it, so we'll have it 2 hours later on in the following days on the interaction between each of us, and hopefully in the finding of the right partner. So from my side, that's all. Hope this information was useful for you, and in case if you have any question, I'm at your disposal.
Hello? Okay. Thank you, Irena. Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you very much for the very clear presentation you did. And nevertheless, your COVID, I think you succeeded. Sorry. Thank you, Irena, for presenting your slides and for being with us. Nevertheless, the COVID that we know oblige you to stay at home. And now we are going to have here a break for preparing before going to prepare our ideas for the project proposal. So you know that today we have the lunch in the hotel. So we will try to rescue the lost time, reducing 10 minutes or 15 minutes to the lunch. Now we have the coffee break, and then we will have the work groups assignments. So please take your coffee at the coffee station, and we will be back in 15 minutes. Thank you very much.
No, perché no? Test. No. Perché? Ehi, sì, ehi. Test, test. Test, test. Test, prova. Essa. Sa, test.
Sì, online.
Test, test.
va in eco, va bene. Il problema, sai qual è? Che cioè, si sente solo quando io vado con lo stesso. Quindi devo mettere questa roba come semplicemente solo mi dovrei sentire perché io sono collegato.
Test, test, test.
Puoi mettere un'immagine. front. Ma
No, non riesco a dire.
But Giovanni,
Don't stand there. He's on. Everybody is hearing.
okay, so we're starting now with the tables and the thematic groups. I have now all these fields of the thematic groups, which we have as well used in the breakout rooms in the internet. And we are now defining tables for thematic groups. And I think there are more thematic groups than tables. That is our problem. But I think we then has to make a mixture. And the job is not only to be today done. So this is a start. And then later we has to follow up together with the outcomes and results of the thematic groups in the internet. So I think this is even the important point. Now the work starts and we all are working together and we need to have, it's genius, marketplaces where we can see all the documents, where we have all the slides. Skillman has a unique high-class experience in working with Erasmus Plus projects. And now they has to give us all that we really can do something and prepare something real and good for our aims. And with all these several hundred participants online who are interested, we have a big group of specialists around us. And it is now only the aim for the future to bring them together. So we're starting with the tables. Please show me your hand. Agriculture, is there a big need for agriculture here in the tables? Not. And I take this out, but we have that on the thematic rooms, and it will be able for you to go to this field later on. Health and welfare. No, that's good for me. Education. I think all, huh? Okay, please say.
May I comment this, because it's also the same evidence that we got with the survey. So we are talking about your learners. What are the topics that your learners, for example, study? So if you have pedagogy as a topic of your learners, so you have to shake your hand, because this is the education meaning, but not that your learners belong to education sector. So if your learners are in engineering, for example, this is what we are talking about. They are in education sector, of course, but the topic is engineering, mechatronics, or so on. So when we ask for agriculture, if you want to make mobility projects that includes agricultural topics or students, okay, this is your table. So I see that now maybe it's more clear. Okay, we can start again, please.
No, you are guiding me. He has to come to the point.
Okay, I can put this on the table,
Yeah.
because we have here the other camera. Good.
Start with agriculture.
So again, there is any group that would like to make some mobility action on including some learners that have to face with agricultural topics, or even one component of the team, not all the members. Okay, no, we confirm that we don't have any agriculture. Just one moment for our colleagues at home, the ones that the participants at home. So they have, in this case, they have rooms, and the rooms are also identifying topics in this way. So they can go into the room. When the room is too much crowded, they can move, because we have provided 2 rooms per topic. So they can select the main topic that they are interested with. Because of course, if in your institution you have mechatronics students and, I don't know, pedagogy students in pedagogy and so on, so you have 2 different, totally different topics, but you can merge in only one project. It's not obliged to make one project for each sector. So the main sector that you want to act in.
And Skillman is a network of networks. That means Skillman will help you to come on board in these thematic fields as well in the future. So that is very important.
Okay, good. So, Urs, we have health and welfare. So I see one hand and another hand there. So you can take the plate, and then you can also mix your tables. You can stay there, but then you can also merge this table if you have common interest. At the end, when we have distributed the topics, then you can establish that one table could be reached because you are interested in the topic more than one. Again, education. We have students in the education fields or learners that are related to education field as a topic of study. No, now no. Okay. Now it's more clear, I think. Okay. Science education. Science. No. Do you have any learner in your? Sorry?
If we can listen all the topics and then choose.
Yeah, the topics are the ones that are listed. The same topics are listed in the presentation in the course. If you have not yet seen, no problem.
You can jump back when you know all.
Okay, now we present quickly all the topics. Engineering and manufacturing and construction is one. Okay. We have services. We have yeah, this is the problem. When we have many topics, how we do? We let to drive one topic the others. So you will select the main aspect, but then you can also bring in the project other topics. It's not forbidden to mix, but of course we have to create groups. The other possibility we have is just to take one room for the online colleagues or to take one table for you and discuss your ideas and your proposals independently from the topic. But this is an exercise that we try to understand, and we have seen that all the participants that voted to the survey are equally distributed among the topics. So I don't know if you remember in the survey, these topics were listed and you had the possibility to make a multiple choice. So if you have selected 2, 3, 4, you cannot stay in 4 tables. Of course, you will take the one that is more important for you, but also you can bring other learners from the other topics in the project. This is not a problem.
Other colleagues will work for you then. And we will exchange the information.
Yeah.
So you don't lose anything.
Then this classification is a taxonomy from ISHED, so it's a statistical classification that we have taken. So you are now in the possibility to choose one of the main educational groups that are used for statistics, but of course you are not obliged to stay in one group. Social sciences, business, and law. Okay, we see that there are already reservations for this. Okay, just a moment. We are now showing again the list, and then we will decide how to compose the groups. And then humanities and arts, that I think in the list is the second room available online. So when we say this, we see some colleagues from different tables. I think that if you agree, we could propose to move only one table. For example, you can move on that table, and we give humanity and arts on that table. This doesn't oblige the other component to leave the table, but then we will see someone probably interested in other topics. Or you there. Okay. So let's go back again. I think no one in education, but we were having some reaction, for example, in engineering and manufacturing, construction, electronic, digital revolution, no. Software design. You, okay. You can take engineering, manufacturing, and construction. Digital revolution is also included in the package. It's free for you. Okay, good. So we have social sciences, business. Okay, here. Oh, here also. Okay, here there are 3 components. You could merge. Only one for one person. Okay, we move there. Social and business. Okay, good. So again, I don't think that it's possible. No one in science. No one in science. Okay, no one in science. Hopefully not the same online. And education, again, we know that we have no, yeah, we have here, education, good. Can give to them. And then it's also this remained, services, tourism. Ah, okay. So this is for you. Services for table number 2. Okay, Urt. We have now agriculture. Someone is interested to create a group collecting agriculture there. So now it's more clear. Okay, green economy. Thank you very much. So now
One question, green economy also covers sustainability.
It can, but of course that sustainability can be also included as an ingredient in other table. It's transversal, but it's okay if you want create a group calling for sustainability projects, collaboration, you can do it. So now you know that in the tables we have plates that indicate the main topic that the table correspond. So the topic is not linked to people, is linked to table. But for the occasion, you are seated in where the paper with the plate has arrived. So you can stand, you can look at the other topics, and you can decide to move to another table if the main topic is not satisfying your choice. Then we can start with the first part of the work, discussing the project ideas, the general aims of your project proposals. Okay, good. Now only online participants are hearing us. Okay, we have work groups that are started here in the room. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tables working, an average of 9, 10 participants, no less, 8 participants per table. And we are expecting that the participants discuss the ideas they have. So what we expect from the online participants, the colleagues that are connected only from remote and are not in the room. So we expect to make the same exercise and to go in the digital rooms where they are facilitated in using the digital boards, because you know they have not the table and everything, they have the screen in front, and it's easier for them to use the digital board. The opposite here. Here they can use the paper and the post-it. Of course, they can also use the computer. But for the online colleagues, they have rooms where they can get in. Is a video conference. These are video conference rooms. They can access from the icon, from the pictures, where they have also indicated the thematic that the rooms correspond. And then they can create the group if they like that group. Otherwise, they can get out and move in another group. Yeah. What is the exercise they have to do, like our colleagues here? They have to try to discuss their ideas, the general purposes, and to identify an idea that can be suitable for the participants of the discussion. It is an exercise, of course. It is not something definitive, but good to start with an exercise. Okay, Urs, what is your comment about this mandate that we have created? So the idea is to have colleagues that are working here and are working from home in a digital environment. Both the situations have to bring to a result in terms of ideas, innovative ideas in mobility for Erasmus Plus program, and both of them have different backgrounds, and probably anche there is also sorry, probably there is also the situation that we merge persons in a random way, and we don't know if they will have common topics to discuss, but we created this room. So your
I say you
refle-
answer from outside.
yeah.
I'm here on behalf of IVITA, of the International Vocational Education Training Network in the world. And they are looking to TVET and VET developments for the future. And we can say we are proud to be a partner of Skillman, because Skillman does have this long years experience with working in the Erasmus field. And I think, therefore, who could be a better initiator of a group and of an activity, of a mandate, as you said, than Skillman? And we are now at the beginning of a new project proposal, or of new project proposals, plural, and we are starting. And the participants, the people who are interested here or at home or somewhere in the world, are now guided by Skillman to create a project proposal for the future. And that is not possible alone. That is only possible with random groups. That is only possible with thematic groups, with colleagues. We need bundles of experts for creating these project proposals. And we have to find them. And that is now the start of the finding process.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Urs. Your reflection makes me to think about what we have set in the past period for our colleagues to facilitate this networking and self-supporting activity. Now we are in a structured process that is aimed to develop capacities in these networking interactions. But we have established, as we know, the 4 peer learning clubs that are based on the same principles that we are seeing here. So the 4 peer learning clubs works on specific topics. Of course, that they sometimes they cross, they have common interest to discuss the same. Then they merge every year on the final Skillman International Forum event, and they bring the results. But so the idea that that is at the base of the at the beginning of the peer learning clubs is exactly what we are doing here, to identify ideas, to discuss, to get advantage from the participation of different kind of expertises. Like we have practitioners, we have university professors like you, we have so different components. We have tutors, we have teachers, we have people that are directly involved in the field of mobility and that move learners all over the world. So with this principle, they collaborate to identify ideas during the year and to bring this idea to a result during the Skillman International Forum, to create then our policy papers, our policy positions. So in this regard, this is not addressed, this exercise, to create policy papers, of course, but to develop skills in doing this exercise. But I think they are very similar in a way. And what we expect from our colleagues online, so to go in the room, to find new partners, to find and meet new colleagues, and to start to discuss these ideas,
And make
and
notes.
and of course, and produce, because we have supported this process, providing suggestions on how to collect information and so on, using digital boards, creating map, conceptual maps, mind maps, and then promoting these ideas they have in a concrete way through a design project design process. So I think we can stop now here, and we can wait for the results of this first stage of discussion.
Now to the groups,
Absolutely.
them,
Yes.
so later we have an exchange.
Thank you.
talking anymore. No, l'audio non sto.
Audio?
Aspetta un attimo. Devo stare...
Sì. Yeah. Ecco. Eccoci. Here we are. So, sorry to interrupt your interesting work. And as expected, we are going to stop this morning session. It was expected to 12:40. We are in 10 minutes delay at the moment, and we are going to have the lunch and to be back as in the previous program time. So as we expect to be here at 2:10, I would ask you to interrupt to work. I know that is difficult because you are involved in this deep conversation on the project ideas and problems to be solved, but we cannot save the world with an empty stomach. So I think it's necessary to refill the batteries and to have a little rest. We have around 1 hour. So for the colleagues online, we know that there is an education group online that is very active. We will propose the presentation by them. So even for the colleagues online, we propose to make the break and to come back as expected time. So we have the work groups assignment and executions of the discussions and collaborations, transversal collaboration at 10 minutes past 2. So please take your time now for the lunch. Thank you very much for all the efforts. I see the tables that are full of notes, brainstorming results, and someone is still there to continuing the discussion. But please now interrupt your collaboration and go for lunch. As you see, in Italy, we have sometimes these habits that we start late, but we end earlier. So please take your way to the restaurant. Attention, please. Another practical information. Our colleague Francesco, very kind, he will stay here in the room. He has already eaten. And if you want to leave your objects, everything on the table, there is no any problem because we will watch all. So please leave.